is also home. I don't have many friends there.
Nice. I was going to say, who leaves paradise and comes to USA?
I know it's beautiful, but the people are more beautiful here.
Thank you, dear.
Oh, so nice.
Should I check with Rati if she's... Not yet. Amit, you want to check with Rati what happened? Oh, you're mute. You're mute.
Yeah, Anita just talked with
She's trying to get on.
Oh.
Yeah. By the way, we are live on Facebook also.
The last discussion, I didn't see the stream on Facebook. You didn't post it?
Yeah, last time it got messed up, but right now I can see it here now.
No, that's fine. I'm just wondering.
Hey guys, I think the star of the show is here.
Hi, Leena.
So hard.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the lovely movie. We're all very excited.
That's
Hey
an
guys,
exciting
can you see
movie
me
to
now?
watch.
Thank you. We have some of the most amazing actors from the movie with us.
Good.
I just finished watching
Lehar
it.
Khan is here.
Are they all here?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I'll do it from here. It's fine. Can you see me?
Yeah, Rati, finally.
Rati, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can. Where is she? Hi. She was here.
Rati was there a minute ago.
I know. She went again. She's having some issues, Leena. She's computer issues. She'll be here.
Okay. So can I introduce who's here from the cast, because you may not recognize them.
Yeah, I think I recognize Janaki and
Chandan is there. Yeah.
Hi.
Chandan.
I'm Chandan.
Yeah.
hi.
Hi.
I recognize you.
Hello,
Mahesh.
Chandan. Hi, I'm Mahesh.
Mahesh Balraj, who played Lajo's husband.
Oh, wow. Everybody looks so different.
No.
That's why I said, let me introduce you.
Yeah, I think that will be good.
Hi everyone. Hi Mahesh.
Who grew up from a 14-year-old to now.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this is Janaki.
I think I got it now.
Wow.
It's Radhika. Tannishtha Chatterjee, whom you all know.
Yes, Tannishta.
Beautiful, amazing Rani.
Hi, Tanishta.
Hi.
You should have that. I can send you again.
Rati is here. Yes.
Hi, Leena. Hey, welcome everyone.
Hi, Rati.
I do apologize that I think this is the first time we've had a glitch with my computer. So, but I'm really glad that all of you are here. I'm just going to look to see who we have, and then we can start. Hi, Leena. I see you. Hi everyone. Well, welcome to week 10 of Hangout with the Creatives. Can you believe it? And we've done 10 weeks of this during the COVID period. This is our at-home series of the Indian Film Festival. My name is Rati Apana, and I'm the executive director of the Indian Film Festival. I'm so glad that all of you were able to come. Thank you, Leena, for organizing everything. You know, this year we've had to postpone our annual festival. And so in order to keep our patrons and our community engaged during the pandemic, what I've done is curated a film each week that folks watch. And then at the end of the week, we hang out with the creatives of the film. That's all of you. And get to know, really understand and get to know the story behind the story. So just want to set a quick rundown of rules for the Zoom session. I'll be discussing with the director, Leena Yadav, and the cast, and then I'll turn over questions to the audience. I just want you guys to keep your images on so that we know who's there. And if you need to ask a question, just type it into the chat. Do a little wave so we know who's asking the question. And please, please, please do introduce yourself. I want to thank Amit and Anita. They're handling the Zoom and recording this. And we will be on Facebook Live today. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for coming. Folks, do join me in welcoming writer, director Leena Yadav and her cast, Tannishtha Chatterjee, Mahesh Balraj, Chandan Anand, Riddhi Sen, and Lehar Khan. Welcome. So I'm going to take a minute to welcome introduce everyone to the audience, and then open it up for discussion. So our Zoom huddle today is focused on Parched. Parched is the winner of 18 awards at 24 film festivals around the world. Won these awards to a standing ovation, in fact, everywhere. It was screened in 2016 by our own film festival right here in Cincinnati. Written and directed by Leena Yadav. This film, as you've all seen, was sort of set in this ochre and burnt sienna hues of exotic Jaisalmer. It very hauntingly captured the scenery and the mood of the film, all done by Russell Carpenter of Titanic fame. And the film was also edited by an Oscar-winning Hugh Winborn. We had two Oscar-winning folks behind the scenes as well. Leena, thank you so much. You've given us a really superb film. I want to introduce Leena to all of you. Leena is a very famous, super well-known Hollywood director, producer, and screenwriter. She's directed films like Shab, starring Sanjay Dutt and Aishwarya Rai, Teen Pati, starring Ben Kingsley and Amitabh Bachchan, then the Rishi Kapoor starrer recently called Rajma Chawla. She was producer for Chapak, starring Deepika Padukone and Vikrant Massey, and she's written several. I think she's written the TV show Dead End, and you've also directed and composed music for it, besides directing several TV series as well. So many of the TV series, I'm sure, are familiar to the audience. Her most recent creation, Cowgirl's Last Ride, is currently in pre-productions. With Leena's brilliant 2-decade career in film, we in Cincinnati and the rest of the world have long been avid followers of Leena. I mean, who can forget, Leena, your visit to Cincinnati in 2018 to our festival. Leena was on the, conducted the industry panel for our festival that year, and shared her tips and tales from her prolific creative output. Thank you for that, Leena. So Parched was her first international feature film, premiered at Toronto International Film Festival in 2015, and she won the prestigious Impact Award at the Stockholm International Film Festival that year. And this is not an easy award to get, because what the Impact Award does is it supports headstrong filmmakers who are not afraid to bring up burning topics in contemporary society. The film was also declared Best of the Fest at the Palm Springs International Film Festival. Leena has always been so warm and encouraging. And Leena, thank you for agreeing to be here with us and for bringing your crew with you, your cast with you. I can only imagine you're so warm and so welcoming and so generous. And I can only imagine how wonderful it must be for your actors who work with you on your films. So having said that, I want to just briefly introduce everyone else here. So Leena, hi, welcome Leena. And I'd like to introduce you to actor and director Tannishtha Chatterjee. Now, Tannishta plays Rani in the film, and it was a role that was superbly done. I think all of you will agree with me. Tannishta has acted in over 35 films, She's won several awards for her performances by international film festivals, including the Best Actress for our film, The Parched. She is the only Indian actress whose films have been selected in 3 of the major international film festivals in the same year. Now, she's known for her performance in the British film Brick Lane, Florian Galenberger's film Shadows of Time, Dek Indian Circus, for which she won a National Film Award, and the Marathi film Dr. Rakmabai. We all remember her for her role of Noor in the film Lion with Dev Patel and Nicole Kidman. And our festival, the Indian Film Festival of Cincinnati, has featured 2 of her films. Last year, we also featured Jalki, in which Tannishta performed. Welcome, Tannishta.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. And Mahesh, Balraj plays the role of Laju's husband. I know a lot of you didn't like Laju's husband, but I'm sure Mahesh will tell us all about it. Mahesh is a prolific actor and a casting coordinator. He's appeared in over a dozen movies. He's also acted in many hit web series and television shows. Some of you are familiar with the Gangs of Wasseypur, and all of us know the film Dangal and have watched Mahesh in that film. Thank you for coming, Mahesh. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chandan, I'm going to talk about Chandan Anand. Chandan plays the role of Rajesh the pimp in Parched. Now, he started his career with Oi Lucky Lucky Oi in 2008. He went back to engineering school, worked as a consultant with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then returned back to acting full-time. Acted in several films. I hope I'm right. You will maybe you're going back to consulting again. I don't know, but you will fill us in on that, right? And he's acted in several films such as Love Aajkal, Alu Chaat. He's acting in a web series and done many TV shows, also in Aam Aadmi Season 3. And he's Gaus Khan in Jhansi Ki Rani series, and then he's taken part in the stories by Rabindranath Tagore. And I mentioned those 2 because many of us have watched that. His latest film, The Body, was produced in 2009. Welcome, Chandan.
Thank you.
And we also have with us Lehar Khan. Lehar Khan is the young Janaki in the film, in Parched. She's featured as the young angel in Destiny, a short film made in 2012, as Shreya in the feature film Jalpari, The Desert Mermaid, 2012, and of course, Parched in 2015. She was also recognized by Screen Awards with a nomination for the Best Child Actor in 2013 and won a 2016 jury prize from Los Angeles Indian Film Festival for Best Actress. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We love seeing you as the young bride. I want to welcome Riddhi Sen. Is Riddhi here? Riddhi Sen, now 23, is a young suitor in the film Parched. He is an Indian Bengali actor. He's a regular actor of the theater group Swapna Sandani. He's acted in over 15 stellar films, won 6 awards, including a National Film Award for Best Actor for his role in Nagar Kirtan. In fact, he is the youngest actor in India to win the National Film Award for Best Actor. And Film Companion ranked Sen's performance in Nagar Kirtan among 100 greatest performances of the decade. So congratulations on that, Riddhi, and welcome. Now, he too has acted in the film Lion alongside Tannishta, Dev Patel, and Nicole Kidman. Welcome, Riddhi. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
I don't think Riddhi is here yet.
Yeah?
No, I'm trying to contact him, but I don't think he's here.
Okay.
I'll let you know if he joins in. He's going to call me probably.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, so lovely to have you here, Leena. You know, watched the film all over again and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's about, this incredibly high-spirited, women and their bittersweet journey. The stories of these women are really universal stories. I mean, they could be my stories, they could be your stories. They cut across, they cut across social boundaries. They cut across settings. It could be a rural setting or an urban setting. It could be a developed country, an underdeveloped country, a rich person, a poor person. It just cuts across all stratas. You brilliantly, I'll wait for your call. Did you get it?
Yes. He was waiting for a link and I just told him he has to just put in.
Okay. Lovely. I was just saying that, this topic just resonates with all of us. And you literally built or wove the film so superbly around so many characters. It was just not a one or a two character person. Each one was so profound and so solid in their performances and contributed so greatly to the film. It was tremendously impactful. And I read somewhere that you were traveling with Tannishtha, I believe, or that you were traveling in Kutch, and that you had listened to these stories of strangers. You were meeting strangers. You were listening to these stories, and it couldn't but help me think about what is it. Was there any one story or any one thing, or maybe an experience from your past or experiences that you've experienced that suddenly made you say, well, I have to write the story. I have to make a film. Was there one thing that you can trace it back to?
So yes, the whole journey actually started with Tannishtha. Tannishtha and I said we have to do a film together, and that's how it started. And then we started, what do we make? And while we were having conversations, she started talking about certain conversations that she had with women in a village in Kutch where she was shooting another film. And I found that the conversation, especially around sex, was so much more real and truthful than I have in my life. And I think I'm progressive, so that's where it started from. And we said, okay, let's go and make Sex in the Village and blow the pants of Sex in the City. So that's where it started. And then Tannishtha and I actually traveled and we had conversations with lots of women. And Rani is based on a beautiful Rani that we know, that Tannishtha introduced me. And one of the most profound and heartbreaking moments when I knew I had to make this film was Rani telling Tannishtha that I haven't been touched in 14 years. And for me, I think touch is a huge theme in life, in the life that we are going into. It's for me, touch is a very, very big theme to be discussed, because I think we've lost that sense. And another very defining moment was meeting this really bruised woman who was laughing the most in the room, and Lajo was born from there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because Lajo's character was so joyful. Yeah, go ahead.
And when, like you said, if all the characters came across, actually, this film, I honestly can't take credit for writing it, because it came out of life, it came out of real stories, it came out of each of the actors, the way they developed the characters. And if you bought into each one and you thought each one had this arc, I think each and every actor surrendered to the character so much and added more to it. I think we all brought a lot of our own life experiences to the character. Like Lehar brought innocence, actually. She was a tough one to handle, to take her those really complex scenes when she had, she didn't deserve to have that understanding of life.
Right.
One doesn't need somebody that age to have that understanding of life. But so we had to take her through innocence, and with innocence through those really complicated scenes. And I think when she was 18 and she finally saw the whole film, she saw it in a totally different context. So that's how attached and our lives were entwined in Parched. So each and every one, this is like a film that's been made by so many people. It's not funny.
And maybe I can jump into Lehar and ask her, since you said that, um, what was it like for you, Lehar, working with Leena and listening to just what she just described? Um, were you really aware of what was going on in the film when you were there?
So when that's what being a kid, I feel like that was one thing that made the entire thing very simple and very easy for me, because while doing it, Leena ma'am just made sure that it's like nothing is coming towards me in a way that will affect me. So I wasn't exposed to it completely until I genuinely saw the film. And when I saw the film, that was when, like, already I was like grown up by the time I watched the film. So that was the time when I really realized, oh, this is the film. I was a part of this, and this is how it exactly looks like as an overall. So when I was working on that, at that time, I was like, I feel like that she just preserved that innocence like inside of me, which I carried when I entered, and even when I left, it was just the same. It didn't change or it didn't get affected at all.
I think that is amazing. I mean, it speaks volumes for you as a director, Leena. I think that's absolutely amazing. Leena, your career includes um, multifaceted recognition for your excellence, over 12 credits in direction, and then you have 5 as a writer, some as a producer, as an editor, as an actress as well, an art director, and you're even a composer, a music composer. Really, I mean, you do it all. But when you think back on Parched and your direction, what aspects of it come to mind that really gave you joy?
First, let me just welcome Riddhi Sen.
Riddhi here?
Wave. Put your mic.
Riddhi.
Riddhi?
Yes.
Hi,
Hello. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. I just want to introduce you to the audience. Riddhi Sen is now 23 years old. He's a young suitor in the film Parched, and that's Janaki's suitor. And he is an Indian Bengali actor, a very regular actor in a theater group called Swapna Sandani.
Swapna Sandhani, right? Yeah.
Swapna Sandani. He's acted in over 15 stellar films, won 6 awards, including a National Film Award for Best Actor for your role in Nagar Kirtan. And we just spoke about you just before you came on, Riddhi. So
I missed it.
That you are the youngest actor in India to win the National Film Award for Best Actor, and Film Companion actually ranked your performance in Nagar Kirtan amongst the 100 greatest performances of the decade. So congratulations. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I was telling them too that you acted in the film Lion as well.
Right.
Alongside Dave Tannishta, right?
Right. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Welcome. Nice to have you. So we were just, discussing the film, and I was just talking about Leena and how multifaceted she is, and is direction the aspect that you enjoy the most, or are there other things that you enjoy? And
I have a split personality. When I'm writer, I'm a writer. Then I have a problem handing the script over to the director part of me also. Because I know the director somewhere will compromise something. So I'm the idealistic writer also. And then, then I'm the director. What gives me most joy, honestly, is being on a set with so many interesting artists. This will make the most collaborative art. So being on a set and not knowing what's going to happen. So there are good days and bad days. Right. But just that collective energy being around you, I think, is the biggest high for me. And then when the magic happens, then that's what life is about. You just wait for that next moment of that magic. And you do a lot of crap in between, but that magic happens again, and then you're addicted again, and then you go again. So that's what it is.
Yeah. So I have a question for you from from Sankhya. So I'm just looking through questions as we speak. Sankhya, would you like to ask your question of Leena?
Hi, Leena. I have first of all, thank you so much for making this movie. What a powerful, beautiful, bold movie. One of the best movies I've seen in the recent times. I just saw it last week, and I'm so thankful to Rati for introducing me to the movie. For some reason, I missed it, maybe in my thing, but thank you so much for making it. And the cast, the acting, everything was so stellar. Everything was on point, perfect casting, perfect locale. Everything was beautiful. So thank you for making it for us. The audience thanks you from the bottom of our heart. My question is, I see that you have non-Indian cinematographer and the editor for your movie. And of course, it's stunning, as we all know, but was it a conscious decision to choose a non-Indian for these two roles, or was it just something that happened organically?
It's a mix of both. So firstly, I'd like to just make one small correction. The editor of the film was Kevin Tent, not Hughes Winborn. Hughes Winborn edited my other film. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yes. Well, the thing is, it was a mix of both because I ended up meeting Russell Carpenter in India about a couple of years before I made Parched. And the way things were, we were not getting finance. My husband, who actually is a cinematographer, and my previous films he's shot, he was producing because he took on that baton to make the most impossible film. And he said, I can't do the cinematography. So I'm going to get you somebody who's a master to me so that I can also learn something.
Wow.
And things fell into place. I had sent my script to Russell's wife, who I had met, for an opinion, and Russell ended up reading that script and saying, I'm going to shoot this film. I know you're married to a cinematographer, but I'm going to shoot this. So, and then it made me see the value of an outside eye. And that's what actually made Parched so universal. Because, I mean, films are about emotions, and culturally, even if they are rooted, they still can be universal. If we just, as artists, we collaborate and we just, I think Russell brought a very new eye to looking at a village. He didn't see it as a boring, he saw so much design in it, And similarly, as an editor, what Kevin saw in it are probably things that you and me are bored of when we think this is India. Yeah. They saw such different aspects and they picked out such different things. So I was able to see something which is my familiarity through their eyes, but with a new eye because of them.
Oh, that's lovely.
Carpenter made this, his point of view was so unique because maybe for the things that we were desensitized to, probably he had a fresh eye for. Because for such an Indian movie, I mean, he did full justice. I was very impressed, and I was wondering whether. And thank you for answering that so well. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's not an American cinematographer. The term item number also.
That was the item number, correct?
Yeah, when we were shooting the Billy scenes, we said, "This is Russell. You're shooting an item number."
Great job too.
Yeah, you did a good job as well. Anita, you had a question too, Anita. Would you like to ask it? Thank you for your question, Sankhya. Anita, yeah, go ahead.
I think you should all ask the actors the questions.
Yes, we are. We are good.
Because you're not the directors.
I am going to be doing that next, but I just want to get to two of the audience members and then move on.
Leena, loved the movie. Thank you so much. Rani, your eyes were very expressive, Tannishta, and Chandan, you got that mix of sort of vulnerability as well as tough guy, which was great. And Mahesh, you did just a phenomenal job of being the bad guy. And Tannishta, of course, had that lovely vulnerability. I love this movie, seeing it the second time. I'm from Lucknow, a Thakur village. So I've seen that women bonding in that atmosphere. And I've also seen Randi Ki Nach. And I became, I became famous for a short time when I was 8. And I said, I want to be a Randi, I can dance. So that was just my backup on this. But the two major themes in this movie were, I think, female or women empowerment and male toxicity. And I know now those are modern terms, but were those, were those supposed to be your major themes? My question.
Like I said, we started with Sex in the Village, but there was no story that you could write without a lot of, pertinent themes coming into it. So as as I started working on each strand of story, there were a lot of pertinent things which are there, right? I mean, which were there with concerns, to be addressed. And secondly, that I've studied I've had some of the most fulfilling, beautiful female relationships. And I never saw myself on screen. I never saw those relationships played out on screen. I mean, I saw Dil Chahta and I saw Kai Poche where they were male bonding. But what about women, and women are always portrayed as pitted against each other, always. So yeah, I wanted my life also to be on screen. So Parched is not their story, it's our story, it's my story, It's about all of us and all the complicated and things that we've all been through in one way or the other, Also the male characters for me was really important in Parched because I don't think life is the male versus female war. It cannot be separate. It has to be together. If it's not together, and I see the villain as conditioning that we all suffer from. So the men and women have to get together and fight this conditioning. I think men also have to be recognized as victims of that conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole process also that we worked, with the actors was taking it from that space and understanding why the man is the way he is before they just played a bad guy, So it was so it became about so many things as we went because we were feeding off life. Even like when we were recceing for the locations, we were getting more stories. Everything we realized it was the younger generation who were educated of the men who had a problem about, who were more regressive than the older generation, which is not educated. So education has not solved the problem. So, that's where Gulab's character comes from. But there were so many themes that just needed to be said. And there was this urgency to say it as we were making it. And it came from all perspectives. The actors brought in things, the technicians. So it became about a lot of things. But yes, essentially what you said is absolutely right. Female empowerment and male toxicity, which is born from being a victim of condition.
Thank you for that great answer. Thank you.
So you made a very interesting comment that irrespective that education didn't really help us, Mahesh. The question then, Mahesh.
Just before Mahesh starts, I just want to tell you that I actually rejected Mahesh during casting, saying he's too soft.
He was too soft.
Actually, film was difficult for me than the role because role was easy for me. But after the scene, when we done the scene, the impact was very harsh for me. So after every scene, I understood the film more and more. Yeah, for me.
Oh,
yeah. So that was not difficult to act, but impact after the scene was very.
So it was not real, was it? Did you really hit? Did you really hit Radhika, or was
no,
it?
no. I thought. That climax was like unrehearsed or unprepared.
Okay.
We shot that was unprepared.
I was very okay. It was beautiful. We absolutely loved it. And Chandan, I wanted to ask you also, between you and the cinematographer, I just wondered, how did you work with him, and tell us a little bit about your visual collaboration with him, because I really loved the way he used lighting on all the actors, but he brought out you, which was very interesting.
So, first of all, thank you for just bringing this platform and making me come back to the memory lane. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And I'm hoping that you guys begin to talk to each other as well. And,
Yeah. After God knows how many years we are like looking at each other. Like Leena ma'am is looking so amazing. Mahesh. Oh, we are in lockdown state. We have spoken to each other, but after God knows how many months and years, Riddhi is there. Such an amazing and energetic actor.
Thank you.
Lehar. Oh my God, Lehar. Oh, amazing. Love you all. So yeah,
Yes.
ma'am. So lighting and Russell Carpenter, sir. First of all, for an actor who is in Mumbai to cherish their dream to just work in some films and you just come across with an international film and Leena ma'am and then 2 Oscar winners. Oh wow, it's like a dream come true. And I'd been working from last almost more than a decade in Mumbai. But yeah, and I've seen many cinematographers, how they lit up my face. But yeah, Russell sir, he just played with 35 rupees of those little bijli lights and he just made magic on my frame, on my face. And I could see that how beautiful I'm looking. So yeah, that was the magic of Russell sir. And we all feel blessed to just be seen by his eyes and then Leena ma'am and yeah, such an amazing cast. I feel blessed to be a part of this cinema and artwork. Yeah.
Also, Russell is an extremely sensitive person. So he created an amazing empathy with a world that he did not know existed. So he built a relationship with each character. I remember before the shoot, he did something where he studied each of their faces, just the light rotating around, like how does it look when it's from here? And he did such a love, such an amazing love for each of their faces and what they signified in the film. So yeah, he created a great empathy with everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. But one thing I would love to say, from last 15 years I've been working, but when I worked with this team and actors and technicians, there was a free hand for actors. Like we used to rehearse and the entire technical team will see what actors will be putting across and those moments will be captured by the team. But that hardly happens in, yeah, God knows. We've been put in certain states and then the lighting is already done, the cameras are already fixed and we have to perform in that set format. But over here, actors were free. You dance, we will capture you. That was the best part of this film and yeah.
Oh, wow. So I want the others to jump in too, Tanishta and Riddhi, jump in on what he just said.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's extremely rare as an actor to witness this, that first when we used to come on sets, so Leena ma'am told us, do what you feel like doing. So that is a rare thing. So it didn't seem like we were rehearsing. So we felt that the house they have built, the production design was amazing. We haven't seen something like that too, that the entire village was created. And before the film started, we actually went to the local people's house and to see how they lived. So I remember me and Lehar going to the village and playing with the teenagers there, and we like enjoyed our hearts out. And that's one of the perks of being an actor, which is very rare, that you get to live so many lives without facing the consequences. So when we used to come on set, I really felt that it was my hut. I really felt that's my bed. I felt that, okay, that's my playground, where that's my bike. So that is something Leena ma'am made us feel on set, that for those 3 months we felt that we were living there. And one of the most beautiful things I've learned from her is how to prepare an actor before giving a shot, because I had a lot of extreme scenes in the movie where I'm getting angry, I'm abusing Lehar and Lehar's character Janki and Rani. So I did something like before all those scenes, I used to get like really angry. I used to walk around in the desert, all trying to build that anger inside me. But one day, Leena ma'am took me in the middle of the desert, and it was sunset, and we were just before we shot that scene where Gulab leaves the house. So she held my hand and she did this amazing meditation exercise, which she calls the white ball exercise. And after that exercise was over, I felt I was numb. And the next moment I was about to do the scene where I'm supposed to be like the angriest in the film, and I just couldn't get up the chair. I was so calm. And then when the camera rolled, then I realized why she did that, because when after that shot got over, I literally started crying holding her, I remember, because the anger which came out after the calm was something I have never faced and I've never witnessed. And that is one learning which helps me the most still now, that Leena ma'am's famous theory of going back to zero, that reset after every single shot. Like after the master shot is over, reset, constantly reset and go back to zero and recreate. So I have never faced such a spiritual experience on set, and that is why Parched is rarest of rare and of an experience, because it was just not, we were not making a film. It was like our personal lives. We were pouring out our own emotions. We were connecting to each other, and it was extremely spiritual and philosophical for every artist out there. So I would take this opportunity to thank you, Leena ma'am, again, because these are projects which I don't think, like, we are extremely lucky to be a part of. This doesn't come every time.
Yeah. And on the fun side, I need to tell you, firstly I saw Riddhi's, Riddhi was in Calcutta and I was sent a tape of his. So we had given him a scene to perform with Rani. Interestingly, the scene was being shot on a mobile. I could see Riddhi, but there was a voice who was playing Rani was a man. So I asked Riddhi, I said, yes, who is that? He said, that's my father. So then I realized that he's the son of two amazing actors. You know, so, and then I said, okay, let's do a Skype call. And while doing a Skype call, I found Riddhi is like so evolved that soon with the 15-year-old, I was discussing sexuality, I was discussing Freud, and we really like connected on what is Gulab's problem, like, which is, how can I have that conversation with a 15-year-old? I mean, in fact, when I hung up that phone, 3 of my assistants sitting behind me turned to me and said, you know, you can get arrested. You had that conversation with a 15-year-old. Oh, God. So,
but that was beautiful, because what Leena ma'am told me, that this is very important, what we were all talking about, that we often talk about how women are oppressed and their problems, but we have to understand that toxic masculinity, this is a problem which so Gulab is not a bad guy, so we never decided to treat him like the anti-hero of the film. So he was a victim of the system. So that is very important, that he himself is going into that entire darkness without even realizing what he's doing, where Rani comes and says that beautiful line like marad banna chhod pehle insaan banna seekh le. So all these people around us are part of this mentality, so they're all a very important victim of this system, so they need equal counseling as well.
Yes, absolutely, because otherwise it just perpetuates it, right? Was it
right.
Did you watch the film soon after, or did you also wait like Lehar did?
No, luckily I got to watch it, because I was very much in this dilemma that if this is A certified, I won't be able to go and watch my own film. So then I was like really scared about that, what's going to happen. But then no, luckily I got to see the film. And mostly because when we were shooting the film, so I had this idea that what it's going to be. So I had that visual in my mind, because even on the days when I didn't have a shoot, I used to come on set and see what's happening, because that's such a beautiful learning experience that you absorb what's happening around you. So I had mostly an idea, and also to watch the other actors perform. We had such amazing actors in this film, and to watch Russell sir work, to watch Leena ma'am work, and the entire team, the entire assistant director team, Mayank Bhaiya, so he was amazing. So it was beautiful to see all these people work. And I remember Leena ma'am at times, that's a secret I'm going to spill, that she took me to the edit room once to make me see one scene, and I was absolutely thrilled with that entire experience to see one scene in the film, which was on the process of editing. So yes, so when I saw the film, I was absolutely floored, and it hits you because when you're acting, you exactly don't realize what's happening in totality. But when you see the entire film after the entire process, you realize what it is like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I wanted to ask Tanishta. I mean, you acted. You kind of were in contact with all of them at Tanishta, the young as well as the older actors in the film at some point or the other. Um, and you were so nuanced in the film, and you did such an amazing job. Um, tell me, tell me how different was this working with Leena as opposed to all the other films that you've done, because you've done so many. You're such a prolific actress, and you've done many crossover films as well in the West. So give me
Don't
some
put that position to work with some of the
Should
best
always-
directors.
But Leena, I love your glasses.
Glasses, true. I haven't seen those.
Parched will always remain a very, very special film for me. Because like Leena said, it happened. The film happened from some drawing room discussions that Asim, Leena and I were sitting and chatting and saying that, hey, let's do something. And we were brainstorming ideas. And then I suddenly told her these stories. And I mean, when I was telling Leena these stories, I never thought we're actually going to go out there and make the film.
Right.
Like as artists, we do this quite often. We sit in our drawing rooms and, over a coffee or drink or, dinner, we discuss like millions of ideas. And we always think that, hey, let's go and make something. It happens so often, but it doesn't actually materialize. But this time it did. I mean, I have to give it to, Asim and Leena are very special people. They actually went out there in a year's time from that first day of discussion in, in Leena's house. And we actually went and made the film. I couldn't believe, even when Leena and we traveled in a train because we didn't have the money for development, to go and meet these women and, listening to their stories. Even at that point of time, I thought, okay, we are researching and we're going there, but I don't know whether whether we'll be able to make the film. But it wasn't only that we made Parched, it just from the time of the discussion to the day we were on sets, it was like about a year. And I thought that was really amazing. So this journey is always going to remain very, very special. And I don't know, when anybody asks me, how did you prepare for the role? I don't know how I prepared. I mean, I think this was something that happened through the process, through many, many discussions with Leena, through different drafts of the script, through the travels, through costumes, through so many things that Leena and I sat and discussed. And I don't even know when I became Rani. And like Leena very rightly said, that there were things that were somehow, part of our own lives and emotions and things that we were going through, that I think very beautiful. I mean, Leena weaved those things so beautifully, and how she brought it out in all of us, in all the actors, is something that I didn't understand at that point of time. When I watched the film now, I am like, oh, really? We did that? I am that? How did that actually happen? It's when I look at the film now, I feel, oh my God, that's such a far removed experience from my life. How did we actually become that? And I think that's how Leena followed this process. She made us all go through this process. I don't know how she did it. And we just became the characters, all of us. And so if you ask me how it happened, I don't know. It just happened. And very, very seldom these magics happen. And I'm glad that I could do one film in my life which is like this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leena. Thank you, Asim.
Memorable. And I welcome
Thank
the actors to
Thank you,
jump
Tanishta. It
I
would
welcome-
not have started without her. Yeah.
So I know there's a couple of questions too for you, Tanishta. There's a question from Vijaya Patil for you. Vijaya, would you ask Tanishta
Yes.
your question? And yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Rati. Hi, Tanishta. I loved your character. It was such an amazing, lovable character. And to know. So in the end, you say मैं अपनी दिल की सुनूंगी. So did Rani get to meet her man of the dream?
Yes, my Shahrukh Khan.
So I mean that was amazing. How beautifully you portrayed this woman who has gone through so much. But you know, she still does the right thing for her daughter-in-law. She treats her as a daughter and she sends her off to have her own life. And then I was just curious to see what Leena and you were thinking about when you made this movie. I believe what you're trying to say is Rani gets her man too, of man of her dreams. So is that right?
Yes, why should she be deprived and left alone?
Right.
You know, if that's what she desires, you know, it's okay to be alone. But if that's what she desires, why should she be deprived of that?
Yeah.
So our production designer, who's again an amazing, amazing artist, Aman takes the help. He read the script and he really read justice. So I'd given him the script and I was waiting that he gets. And he called me and said, on one condition, I'm doing Rani needs to have.
That is interesting, yeah. And you know, there's one more question for you, Tanishta, from let me see. I know I saw it, so I'm trying to look here. Nargis Aniston had a question for you as well. So I wanted Nargis to ask the question, and I want all the actors to know that you can just jump in, you know, jump in with your views, and we love to see your hear your banter and your exchange of views as we move along. So go ahead, Nargis.
First of all, to all the cast, you know, the movie was really, I got really emotional, and I think it's one of those movies that needs to be watched. So I just want to thank everybody. Amazing work. I'm actually sorry, Tannishtha. Sorry, I may pronounce your name wrong, but I'm actually a huge fan of you. I've seen many of your movies, and I was just thinking, with the roles in Brick Lane, in a Glab Gang, you played the women, you know. So I was just thinking whether with this movie, were you like, because you have had similar experience, do you ever put them together, or each project you kind of see it as a fresh perspective?
I always see is I mean it's always fresh, and I think you know, Brick Lane's character and Rani's character is very, I mean, they are similar in some ways about repression and sexuality.
Yes.
And you know, the whole claustrophobia with women, but their worlds are still quite different, yet they are quite different. So there are certain common themes that actually we as women connect, whether it's Sex in the City, Sex in the Village, or it's Brick Lane, or it's Gulab Gang. You know, there are certain aspects of repression and claustrophobia that as women we connect, and those are of course, you know, the generic themes. But I approach each story and each character as it comes, and of course it's also about how the director is seeing, you know, the world. And it's not, you know, I'm playing only my character, but you know, the director has a vision of the entire film, and you know, how the director is seeing the character. And I think working with different directors always has a different approach. I mean, like Riddhi pointed out, even in Brick Lane, actually, that was the process. We were never blocked. We were sort of allowed to do, you know, whatever we are doing as actors, and then, you know, the DOP would capture, and the director would give us a lot of freedom. And impulses. Leena would always give us impulses to explore. You know, I mean, I remember there was one scene between Riddhi and I, and she took us inside the hut, and she just told us a story, and she was holding our hands, and then we were both made to close eyes and hold each other's hands and meditate, and then she just said breathe and start. And
Yes.
there was and we just started that scene, and we don't know where the camera was or when it started and when it ended. We were just there in the scene. So I think these kind of processes they're amazing, because acting is it's such a vulnerable process. You have to be so vulnerable and so transparent and so naked. And it's so important to therefore have that complete trust and relationship with your director. So I think with each character, it also depends on how the director is approaching it. How the entire setup, your co-actor. I mean, it's all very directorial as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You've really answered so well. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And my husband watches all the movies I watch too. So we're just, big fan.
Lovely. And I love seeing the picture of Parched behind both of you. Very nice. Parched. Thank you for your question. And now I wanted to actually see if Anu Mitra had a question for the actors as well. Anu, I think I skipped you earlier, but I'm coming back to you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rati. Great choice as always. So thank you for making this available to us. And Leena and the entire cast, it is also a spiritual experience for me as I see this film. And as I think about how each character has an opportunity to regenerate themselves. And that's why it's no accident that the film is called Parched. Everything is dried up, but with the possibility of an opening and a reawakening and, the creative forces coming into play. And so I was very interested in seeing how something which is parched, which is very dry and brittle by nature, can also be a source of such mystery and such beauty. And it was also connected, the geography was connected to the characters in interior landscapes. So everyone had an opportunity to blossom. Like Chandan, he was right on the borderline of blossoming before he went back to being a pimp again, and everyone had that opportunity. Whether they took it or not was dependent on their own sense of agency, their sense of power. So I just wanted to find out how you all thought of the outer and the inner geographies, the outer and inner landscapes coming together, whether the landscape being in the desert helped you feel that sense of, aliveness, of creativity.
And the question is for anyone?
The question is for anyone. And Leena, you can start because I love your glasses. I wear glasses all the time. I love your glasses.
And Leena, I have to tell you, Menaka works for Luxarica, and I have to tell her to get me a pair of glasses like this. My daughter, she's on the Zoom as well, watching you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So actually, like we've all been saying, things happen so organically that it came from the right space. You're putting it really beautifully. I mean, I understood something new today. So thank you so much for that. But everything fit just magically. Sense was made of it much later. I mean, I've seen this film interpreted in so many different ways, which I never even imagined while I traveled with the film through festivals. And even today, just different conversations. I've had too many conversations with this film beautifully, so that I've understood this film much better from so many other perspectives. So, but I know one thing, that it was a need to understand even the male characters, where they came from, it was a real need. I very clearly did not want to paint them as villains. It was not us versus them at all. It was in this landscape, it's all this, but there is it's all here, you know, and that's where it needs to go from. And that's why they are even grays in the female character. I mean, Tannishta is a patriarch to start off with. She only is starting to kind of, you know, thaw towards the end. She's just starting a journey there. Not like she's transformed also.
Rani, not Tanishta.
Rani, Rani, exactly.
So, yeah. So it's I mean, you put it so beautifully. I don't think I can give you a better answer than that.
Well, you know, there's so much to think about, because it's just not about those social roles that we play and our conditioning or lack of it or whatever, you know, or to conditioning to whatever extent. There is always conditioning. But I was wondering how the actors felt about it. You know, the possibility for amazing change. And the women especially was so joyful. It was unbelievably powerful, that optimism, you know. So just had to comment on that and, you know, put a finger on it.
Come on, go for it.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. As you beautifully said, that how the parched weather that sort of helped us, because as Tanishta ma'am said also, that the way we felt during the scenes, that we suddenly started off without even realizing that the camera is rolling, because we didn't have an idea, but we were not given or presented with the idea that we were on a film set. Because initially when I said that when they created the village, it felt so real, because we actually saw original sandstorms while we were shooting the film. So one day we were shooting the bus sequence after Janaki's wedding, and there was a huge sandstorm going outside. So we were actually living there for the last 2-3 months, and it definitely takes a toll on you psychologically, the ambience, the weather, the people, and also the process, how the director in the process where the director just pushes you, that exchange of energy between two actors. When me and Tanishta ma'am held hands, so we felt that energy exchanging, that spiritual energy flowing from one person to the other. So there definitely the entire ambience plays a big role for an actor. When you wear the costume, when you actually go there, it is when you get the smell of that particular place. I think all these factors really plays a huge role while acting.
Yeah, absolutely. And we, you know, we have a number of questions also on the locale. And if I may ask Shweta Swali, and then after Shweta Kalpa to ask the questions. Shweta, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Like everybody said, it was a wonderful, wonderful movie. I saw it a long time ago and again saw it the second time this week. And the impact it has on you, it's just keeps you thinking about all the characters. I'm just curious. I come from Kutch in Gujarat myself. So I'm curious, where did you shoot the movie and how was your experience where you shot it, Leena?
I thought it was Jaisalmer, was it? I'm not sure, but
Break your heart a little bit. So, we were meant to shoot in Kutch. We did all our research in Kutch.
Okay.
And in fact, we tried to make the dialect slightly Kutchi, but not like, so that a Hindi speaking audience can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started looking for a village to shoot, and we would go to villages. But the moment the younger generation Gulabs saw me, they would say, "Oh, if you come here to shoot, will more women like you come here?" I said, "Yes." They said, "No, then our women will get corrupt looking at you."
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So we were literally like shoved out of Kutch. We went to around 30 villages and the same thing played out. Actually, that's when I started, fine-tuning Gulab's character in the writing, because I was shocked that this was the younger generation who was educated. But what happened with education is they went out to the cities and they said, "Oh my God, these women have become demons. We need to control ours even more." So they came back wanting to control their women even more.
Wow.
So finally, we were stuck and we were trying to make a film against all odds because we didn't have money. So overnight, we shifted to Rajasthan and we got this village, which was like half there, but whatever. We reconstructed that a bit and we made that a village and we shot it there. But in the film, I'm not committing to any region or a particular tribe, or because otherwise the conversation becomes about that in India. You know how it is.
Right.
So, so I didn't give it religion. I didn't give it geography. It was in the middle of nowhere, but it's still everywhere.
Okay. Okay. And the other point I wanted to make was the costumes and the jewelry and the makeup. I mean, the jewelry and the costumes were just amazing. I mean, every little minute detail, that was really nice. Yeah. Congratulations. You made an amazing movie.
Exactly, yeah.
So the costumes were and jewelries, thanks to Ashima Belapurkar, one of the most amazing costume designers in our country.
Okay, thank you.
We love the tattoos as well on the neck, and oh wow, it's so well done. It was lovely. Vijay, thank you for your question, Shweta. And I think Kalpa Shah has a question along the same lines. Kalpa?
Yes, you're right, Rati. Thank you. Hi, Leena, and hi, everyone. Yes, I watched the film last week, and I have to say that I was rattled. And I guess the objective is, in a way, to rattle the brain, right? But at the same time, I did watch many of your interviews, and you know, what you also just said moments ago, that it is not supposed to be contextually in a specific location. It can be anywhere. My question to you, Leena, is that had it been, you know, you did have a fabulous cinematographer. Had you shot this, and you also had very little by way of resources, as you mentioned. So suppose you had used, let's say, Dharavi as your context, how different would that have impacted the outcome of the film and you know, the responses from audiences? Because wouldn't you agree, at least this is the feeling that I got, that the responses that this film evoked had plenty to do with that specific location, as friends have said just now, you know, the grand costumes, the jewelry, the photography, and no doubt, I mean, you know, the actors performed the way you had set their roles out to be. But had this been in, let's say, Dharavi, and the reason I'm asking this question is that because this is a very universal issue, not just in India, it's everywhere. I mean, the films that cross my mind are also films like Bazaar and even Arth, Bhumika. Arth, where educated people, I mean, Shabana says, "Main randi hoon," or something, or, you know, whether it's Smita Patil saying that. And these problems that are universal. So fundamentally, how much was the impact of your location, whether it was Kutch or away from Kutch in Rajasthan, to do with the outcome of, you know, all the accolades that you won? I don't want to undermine your efforts and, you know, all that all of you all put together, because you did your best. But here's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I had placed it in Dharavi, it would be a completely different film with different stories. Definitely could have had exactly the same themes. And the choice of location and thing was not driving us, our need to tell the film. The stories did come out of there organically. And so it was not made for any exotic value at all. In fact, like I'm saying, all those terms came much later. We just made a film that we all needed to make. And it was true to what it needed to be. And it's free for interpretation, but it was a story that belonged there. If it was in Dharavi, it would be a totally different story with different
characters. Because you wouldn't have the cave, and you wouldn't have, you know, how would this, it would happen somewhere. I mean,
absolutely. And really, this story can happen. I mean, I'm now knowing this firsthand because I've taken this to at least 20 countries across the world, and heartbreakingly so, some of the most progressive countries connected to it. and told me that this is their reality even today, and that was really, really painful to know.
Yeah. It is the reality, and in the COVID era, you know that that's a reality in a lot many more places, and but would you say that the people do get carried away by glamour, and the glamour and the exotic, so to speak? So do you feel that has had some bearing?
If that did have bearing, then it's really sad, because I think, and if that had bearing, the film wouldn't have lasted so long in conversation. That would have been a one-time, oh wow, beautiful, that's it. But this moved people from the inside. This touched people in a way that makes them keep coming back. The fact that we're having this conversation 5 years after we made the film is testimony to that. So I don't care where it belongs, and I don't place value on that. It needs to belong wherever it does, and if it's good and this emotions speak to you, that's when the film works.
And each time you see the film, you take away something more from it. I mean, it's such a rich film, really. And
thank you, Leena.
There's also a sort of, like in spite of everything that happens, there's a poetry and innocence to these characters.
Yeah.
If we were setting it in a place like Dharavi, it would have, like as Leena said, it would be a very different story. Also, the poetry and innocence wouldn't have been the same way as it is in a village, because like technology has touched urban living in its roots so much. The Dharavi existence of women, because of the reach of technology, is very different from these women in the village, where Rani explores the mobile phone for the first time. I mean, Dharavi, the reality is very different. It wouldn't be that way at all. So the exploration, of course, of the same stories would be the stories would be very different. Maybe the themes would be the same, but there is, like I said, there's a poetry to nature. There's a innocence when you live with nature, which is what happens in remote villages like the ones that we found our stories in. That would have been missing in the film then.
And I see Chandan shaking his head. So Chandan, you have something to add?
Yes, because
performances would have been very different.
we keep, my take is totally different, because we keep getting scripts and characters from the Dharavi side, and once Anurag sir had made something, you will see the copies of those kind of stories in cinemas. But reading and going through the script we got from Parched, and later on when we went to the shoot and the location, and if you just see my setup, my world, I have seen those places of Notanki Drama Company, so vibrant, so colorful, and I was like so happy to just play that character. Like that, we had those costumes and all I would have seen in the annual days of my school. Oh, I'm wearing that. But in cinema, and still feeling this is the reality and this is the real character I'm playing. So that was something which I would say, like, thanks to Leena ma'am for visualizing such a character, and that was fun for me to play. So I just feel that it was more close to the reality, because I have seen those kind of places which we hardly get to see in our cinema. Sad, but yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, like Leena also said, bringing out the innocence of the children, like Lehar, I don't think that would have been possible in Dharavi. And Mahesh, I see you're back on. So I wondered if you've had something to add, and Lehar, if you have something to add as well.
I have a question for Lehar.
Yes.
Yeah.
The only thing that Lehar was really worried about when she was acting in the film was that, don't you think I'm crying too much in this film all the time? I said, yeah, I'm sorry. And I remember that where she gets beaten by Gulab, I was traumatized. Then how am I going to make Lehar go through that scene, because the rest, a lot of it, the way we shot it, didn't need to expose her to anything. So luckily by then, Lehar and Riddhi had become the biggest buddies. and sing songs a lot. They are both beautiful, beautiful singers. And I took Riddhi's help because Riddhi had been overexposed mentally. I took Riddhi's help. We conspired and we made it feel like what this fun dishum sequence like we see in films. That I'll just do this, but you go and fall dramatically over there, and then you come here. And then in a separate block, I had to tell her, okay, now you need to start crying. And I would try to give her a context which was not necessarily the truth, but could connect emotionally to why she's crying at which point in time. But then I want to ask you, when you look at the film now, which is your favorite scene and why? And connect it to your experience of shooting it.
Yes, yes. So the thing is that Parched has been such a long journey that it has a lot of it just like I grew up with it, and there's like two very different separate stories all together now to Parched, because now when I watch it, it's from a very different perspective, and when I was there while doing it, it was a complete different experience. But as you've asked right now regarding my favorite scene, it will still be the scene in which that comes from my like personal attachment towards the scene, was where me and Radhika, they are there, and she came back after getting beaten up, and she's looking for Tantan, like she's looking for Rani, but she's not there at home. And I don't know, but as just looking at her being so badly bruised, the normal thing that comes in my mind is that I can just put some warm oil on her. And that's the first time when I connect with her as a character in the film. And I feel like that was one place where I also got very attached to the film as Lehar when I was a part of the film. I remember Leena ma'am, we all three of us were just crying at that time, even after we shot the film, even after we shot the scene for so long, and I think that scene is so close to my heart that still it's my favorite scene. Like now when I watch it, I still cry.
I remember Lehar. I think something happened just when we were shooting, because when she's crying, something real came there. I think she really did connect to Lajjo's character, and I think that's the only place where Lajjo is vulnerable and she really shows herself to this child who will never really understand, but where she breaks down because she sees her own reflection, and Lehar sees her reflection that, oh, this is never going to end. It's almost like the two ends of it seeing each other for what they are, and it became magical. I mean, we were all three crying while we were shooting it. It's just that moment was magical.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And we have two more questions here one from Pulin, and then Pankaj, you're in line next. So Pulin, go ahead and ask your questions of all of them, I guess, all the actors as well.
Yeah, so wonderfully made movie. I saw it second time, and every time I see it, I get new nuances of the film. It's such a richly developed story, wonderfully acted by everybody. One thing that I still could not get, the role of Shah Rukh Khan, the secret lover. He could have done without it, but it was like very peripheral. And it felt like only role was at the end, Rani takes control and say, I'm not going to ask today. Whatever my heart desires, it will go either left or right. So it's not like she's going to get together with him. It is more like, I'm independent now. But did you have any thoughts on that? Why you introduced that character in the film?
That also actually came from reality. The real Rani that we did visit, where Rani was born, where this character Rani was born from. She was getting, so we spent a day with her, and as we were doing things, she would get a call, she would go aside, and then she would come back all flushed. Now, this is a Rani who's not been touched for 14 years. And we asked her, I said, who's calling you? So she says, there's just this random man. And, but I have sensations in my body that I didn't know existed. And I thought that was so, so powerful, that a mobile was, kind of giving her something Like that. That's where I had some appreciation for some technology which is reached, because it has done some good also in some way. At least it's opened their eyes to a world that they're not, or to themselves in a way. And that's why if you see, the mobile is being used in a very interesting way in the film as something that's liberating them. The women end up using the mobile innocently as a vibrator in one scene. So it's a comment on technology also. And I mean, genuinely, it's your opinion, but the Shah Rukh Khan angle, according to me, is an amazing angle in the film. But I appreciate your opinion on that.
Okay. Thank you. And I thought you did expand that aspect of it a little bit by Rani when she's applying the medicine on Radhika. And you see the gentle touch and both of them feeling sensation about it. I thought that was wonderfully done. I do have another question for really the young actors. When the Lehar and Riddhi, when the film was shot, you were underaged, and this is a very mature topic. As you see it now, how do you feel about the film and about what you were feeling at that time? Lehar touched it a little bit, and Riddhi said he was a little corrupted by Leena ma'am, but in reality now that you are very mature, how do you see the whole story? And
well, I just so now when I see it, first of all, I just feel very proud of the fact that I was a part of it, and during that time, the journey was very different for me, and it was very different for me and Riddhi. Actually, I can say, like, on both of our behalves, that it was very different for both of us. And for me, there were places where it was a very like in the scene which you saw right now, as you were saying about the same scene. If you see, I enter in that scene, and I'm basically calling upon whether should I cook or no, and I just enter. But while we were shooting this scene at that time, it's not me on screen. So when I was doing, it was my shot, there was nobody sitting over there. And when it was their shot, I wasn't there, it was someone else. So Leena made sure that when we were shooting the entire film, for me, the entire experience was very unknown. So when I finally saw the film was the time when I really got to know that, oh, this is what it is about. And as a person, I have grown so much during these years regarding specifically when it comes to women empowerment and this issue, and I've been very strongly opinionated about it. So right now, as you've asked that what I just feel that I'm so proud that I could be a part of such a film, and I could at a very young age could be a part of this and could stand against something which has been happening for such a long time. And yeah.
We love.
I totally agree to Lehar. Absolutely, I totally agree to her. As she said, that any good film, if you rewatch it over and over again, every time you discover something new. So now, when I watched it like 5 years back, 3 years, 4 years back, so it was something different to me. So when I'm watching it now, it's something different to me. When I watch it 5 years later, it'll be something different to me. But the genuine feeling which I get now is that that's how we contribute to the society. So I'm very glad that as artists, so it's something beyond just working in a film, this particular film, because I'm not just thankful to Leena ma'am for casting us in such a project or making us a part of such a beautiful film, but also as human beings, it's very necessary to be a part of such a project which has contributed a lot to the society, towards the society. So that makes me really proud. More than an artist, as a human being, I feel very proud to be a part of it.
You're asking me a question?
No. It was just.
No, I'm sorry. I'm like, huh?
No, it's not you. It's not. It's something else.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave that package.
I don't know who's talking, but well, I just wanted to ask Pankaj Desai to ask this question of the guys, especially. Both the men, Chandan and Mahesh. Pankaj, go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Rati. First and foremost, Leena, thank you very much. What a masterpiece. Loved it. My wife, Sangeeta, is sitting right next to me. We actually watched it last night. So it's very fresh. And Lehar, it's great to see you grow up to such a beautiful young lady. Love your hair, by the way.
Thank you.
Missed seeing that in the movie, of course. And Leena, I really do agree with the universal appeal and universality of the concept because I'm originally from Indore. And if you go 5-10 kilometers out of the city, this is a story that actually repeats in many parts of the region quite easily. I thought Rani's character was brilliant. I think she was a nucleus. She was holding it all together in multiple roles. But one aspect of it really also was beautiful is her friendship, especially to Bijli, to be there for Bijli under very trying times in a tough environment was beautiful. So that, those are such general comments about how much we love the movie in the parts, the nuances that we liked. One question, I really wasn't aware of this quote unquote reverse dowry because, I had never heard of men's family paying for her having the wedding basically. Anything to add?
No. So that's a question.
So that actually does exist in a community in Kutch, that the women, and I found that really interesting. That despite that actually it's him. So sometimes we place value on things. We think dowry causes this. These are all independent things which need to be addressed independently. So despite the fact that in the power structure, you're paying for the girl, still the women are treated like that. So that value actually is not the culprit. The culprit is still inside, So that's why I wanted to throw a lot of those values on its head. For even for example, Rani and Bijli's friendship.
Yeah.
The whore and the wife are the two, they should be enemies, right?
Right.
As women, they were compassionate to each other. So, or the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. So a lot of those things one was trying to challenge and reinterpret, because we have to fall out of those typical things that we just know one type of a relationship.
No, that came out very nicely because I think Bijli says that what that friendship meant to her as she endured all through her life till that so that was beautifully done. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all your questions. Are there any last questions? Because I know I've kept.
I will ask the question to Mahesh.
Yeah, let's
Mahesh,
ask the question.
You have to. Hello, where are you? Come on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. And I want to share with you that Mahesh. So when Mahesh finally got cast after a really long conversation that we had, I asked him. I said, "What do you think of your character?" And he says, "I hate him." He said, "Because I've grown up knowing so many men like this. So I hate him." I said, "If you hate him, you can't play him, because I need you to know this character from the heart, right or wrong, but you need to enter him from inside, right? To enter him from inside. If you're judging him, you're sitting outside of him and judging him. So now let's get into him. Why is he the way he is?" And that's where it started off from. And I said then, and use this as an opportunity to keep a relationship with these men that you've known and hated, because that somewhere is kind of manifested in you. And I think he just did like the most outstanding job of just understanding that.
Yes.
Please tell us, like, how did you create this character, which was really difficult, and you did not play him like, oh, I'm playing the villain. He actually is very weak and impotent also at points.
Yeah. Good question. And I wanted to say too, I was hoping that the guys in the audience would ask the guys questions and comment on the guys as well, because they seem to comment on the girls, but not the guys. And I don't know if it's, everyone's a little hesitant because, it's such a patriarch.
To talk about the boys.
Really resonates. Go ahead, Mahesh.
You know, I have seen in my villages where women, they don't wait for their husband to come early, and they're happy as much as late they'll come home because they're scared somewhere. Like they'll be beaten by their husband, or they have to like listen their abuses, you know. So even I've seen like closely, like in my neighborhood, in my at my home, where my Babuji was so angry on my mom, and we used to get scared as a child. So we don't know what to do. So my mom you always used to tell me, don't become like your dad. Be
Very-
like me. Be like me. So I have seen like women are suffering like in everywhere, like in every world, they are suffering from like house abuses or. So I have seen lots of things. So when Leena narrated me that this role to me, so that was so like close to me. I've seen so much of these shits. So when I faced Lajo first time on the set, I was in love with her. How can I raise my hand to her? Okay, that insecurity because he is important and he has to face the society. So in society, he is a man.
Correct.
But in the house, he's an important guy. He's useless. He's useless. So for me, it was very difficult to see the film. But like when I'm on set and I see the bruises on Lajo's face, I asked Leena what happened to her. It was in previous scene you had beaten her. Oh my God! So for me it was not easy actually. I cried.
Really?
But do you think playing him healed you in some way and made you understand him better in some way?
Leena, I'm completely different person, like in real life. That was a role. I have to fulfill the demands, you know, but I personally I'm not at all like this. I cannot. You know. And after this film, I completely changed. Like I'm completely a woman now. I cannot abuse a woman. You know.
So beautifully said.
Gang.
So I understand their pain. You know, if somebody will abuse me and hit me every day, I'll kill him. I think.
Yeah. So what's the next film for you?
My next film is Samshera. It's Yasraj production. I don't know. I'll watch it in cinema hall or not. Time has changed.
Yeah.
You all should also see him in a series called Ghoul on Netflix.
Yes.
Cool, yes.
Wonderful.
Season 1 and Electric.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're a very handsome man, and you know you played that role so beautifully.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.
And I wanted to ask Chandan too. I mean, are there some movies you're working on now too, Chandan? And do you guys meet each other, or you talk to each other? Or?
In this lockdown, we have spoken to each other. Yeah, and thanks to Leena ma'am again. She called me once. How are you? I'm like,
Because
wow,
you
somebody.
disappeared. You disappeared. She was worried about you. You know.
I'm too much on. So yeah, one thing I would love to say about the male cast, because I believe whenever I have worked with female actresses and they are amazing. Naturally, they have, as we say in Natya Shastra, Navrasa. They know how to emote. They're amazing in front of my eye when I just see actresses and their experience. Even if they have worked for 1 or 2 years in theater, they would perform so amazingly that I'll always wonder. But with male actors, yes, this cast was amazing. And I have told Mahesh also, because as an actor, we tend to just read other actors that how he must have performed this scene, like what was going inside his head. So what he performed, I have seen villagers and those masculine men, and so subtly he performed And yeah, that was something which questions me and questioned me at that point of time ki main kar pata. Like he was so into the character, and again best wishes, sir, for your future projects. And Riddhi, oh my goodness, I've never seen such energy in any male actor like Shahrukh sir, lekin Riddhi ke saath. And I was so happy to know that a Bengali guy brought up in Bengal and playing this character and and uttering those Gujarati line, kya bolenge, Kutch ki language.
Kutch, yeah.
That was, yeah, Kutchi. And I asked him kitna time rehearse kara and all that, but he was like bang on, bang on. So, ma'am, you had
Thank you,
got
thank
such,
you, thank
yes,
you.
yes, yes. I'm a weirdo. Like I have to still come out of the cocoon. I'm as when you were introducing me, there's another Chandan Anand. So half of the introduction of that male actor. Yeah. So I am unknown in the world as such. But yeah, whatever fame I have is just because of Parched. Yes.
Rubbish. But listen, Chandan, let me tell you
Yes.
about your performance.
Yes.
It is so brilliant. Yeah, according to me, one of the most heartbreaking, tragic moments of Parched belongs to you, which is your which is what somebody said that it almost goes there and it doesn't, and he just like becomes the pimp again. In that moment, but that is his truth. That's the only life he's known. So for him, how can he express his love to Bijli is by making her a bigger whore than she was, because he's been brought up in this drama company. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. He means well. His intention is good, but and how beautifully and that's why I think Rati's looking at your lighting, but I think it was his face and his expression which was so potent. Yeah, so potent.
Absolutely. It was his face and his expression. And that moment was just so profound, because you could see it meant something so different to Bijli, but it meant something so different to him. And he was not able to really get that across. No, it was beautiful. I mean, that's a moment, Chandan, that sticks in my mind, actually, that expression of yours at that moment.
Thank you, ma'am. But as everybody was talking about the energy, being an actor and being a part of such a big film where Tannishta is there, Adil sir is there, Russell Carpenter, Leena ma'am, such an amazing cast, and I came across as a part of that film. So even I was just looking at the film and the project. At that point of time, I just saw these two kids, those who are grown up now. So whenever I have worked with kids, and right now also I'm doing one TV series, I have found such an immense love and great energies coming together because of those amazing kids. And thanks to, and Tanishta was like awesome in the film. And it's always a learning experience to just watch seasoned actors. Tanishta, and what a great pal. We had a great time in London and all. Oh, what a journey. It's like a medal. Yeah, lovely. And now I'm shutting up. Take care. Bye.
I do hope all of you can visit us here in Cincinnati, maybe another movie, and at the Indian Film Festival. Guys, I know I've kept you very long, but I do want to thank the audience for being with us. I know several had to leave on time. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Leena, from the bottom of my heart. We always loved your company, and we really enjoyed being with you. Thank you, Lehar. Thank you, Riddhi. Thank you, Mahesh. And thank you, Chandan. It was just amazing to have all of you here and to really understand what's going on, what went on behind the film. It gives us such a wonderful depth of knowledge and a new appreciation for the film, knowing also the camaraderie that all of you had on set, and I can see how Leena is such a great actress because she remembers, and and showed us how she literally brought the best out of all of you, and I really appreciate that. We all appreciate this film. I think it's a classic. It's probably be a film that people are going to use in the classrooms. Thank you, Leena, for everything. It was lovely. Leena spent some time with us in Cincinnati, so I just want to tell her both Minika and Adrusha are on. Minika, you can say hi.
Hello.
Yep. Thank you, Leena. So
Thank
usually
you.
they'll have some questions, but they don't have questions today. So. But thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming today, and good luck in all your future endeavors. Leena, I know you have some great things in the pipeline, and whenever you're ready, shoot us a mail and tell us, and we'll promote it too with our groups.
Done. I'll do that.
Thank you, Leena.
So much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Say that again, Leena. I didn't hear you, Leena.
I said thank you so much for having us, and thank you for connecting me back to my Parched family. And
yes,
guys must do another call together and do this more.
I think
Yes, certainly.
because it stimulates so many things that happen. I'm sure then you begin to think about working together again, and yeah.
And just very quickly, this film only happened because of.
Oh, yes. Here he is.
Asim, you're right.
He just walked in to pick me up. So I said, I have to take this opportunity to introduce you to this beautiful person who made this possible for all of us.
Hi, Asim. Thank you.
Best producer.
Thank you, Leena.
Okay, thank you. See you soon, all of you. Take care, be safe, be happy.
Thank you.
You too, you too. You too, and all
of you. Thank you.
In India as well. Stay safe.